Here at Paddy Power, we're the home of the Money Back Special, with some incredible offers every single week. Check out the website or app today. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus begambleaware.org.
Hello there, welcome to the Racing Post Weekend Postcast. I'm Bruce Millington and I'm all on my lonesome in the studio this week because Paul Keeley, David Jennings and Paddy Power's Niall O'Reilly are dispersed around England and Ireland. But never mind, the fact that we're not all together doesn't mean we don't have the best racing preview programme for you of a great weekend. And this really is a good weekend. There's 9 races live on ITV4 from Doncaster, from Cheltenham and from Newbury. And then on Sunday, one of the races that gets the cockles of jumps fans' hearts warmed up. It's the Old Roan at Liverpool with some great names involved there. Let's crack on then and we'll start at Doncaster. But before we go through the races, Kills, do your Michael Fish impression for us. What's it going to be like this weekend? Because there are some horrific forecasts and people being very nervous about a glut of rain sweeping across Britain and Ireland.
Yeah, pretty horrific. I think Clark's courses at both Doncaster and Cheltenham earlier this week were expecting good to soft ground on the Saturday, but we're hoping Doncaster don't get too much because that might be under threat. It's already soft. Cheltenham's just gone soft in places, so it looks like that's very much going to be soft tomorrow as well, and we already know that it's bottomless at Newbury anyway, so mudlarks is what you want.
Okay, let's hope the boys have identified some good value mudlarks for us. Let's go then. 9 races live on ITV4. We'll spin through and start with the 145 at Donny. Niall, how do Paddy Power bet?
So Troubadour is our 3-1 favourite currently. Aberama Gold is 9-2. Arc Power 9-2. Hong Kong 5-1. Brad the Brief 7-1. Flaming Princess 7-1. Milltown Star 8-1. And Bill Nay is 20-1. David
Jennings, I haven't heard your dulcet tones on a postcast for a while, so you can go first. How are things?
Dulcet tones, I haven't been called that for a while. Great, yeah, great. I love the start of the jumps. This is one of my favourite weekends. Cheltenham back, all very exciting. Do you want me to expand?
Well, I was just listening to the sound of silence in a David Jennings sentence, an amazing sound. No, tell us what's going to win 145.
Yeah, this is quite tricky. Obviously, we don't know just how soft it's going to get at Doncaster. To be honest, I thought the overpriced one was the Irish contender Hong Kong, who seemed to benefit from the fitting of blinkers at Naas last week. And I just think the fact that he's won on soft to heavy and has ran previously, he was second to a decent enough sorted Limerick on heavy ground as well. Now, he's only rated 90, which means he's £11 to find with Troubadour. But I just wonder, these O'Brien horses, when they do start improving, the fact that he handles the ground, that he's been, aimed at this race, I just thought 5-1 was a big price. Like he's not against anything really special here. So at 5-1, I thought the value option was probably Hong Kong.
Keels, who do you like?
Yeah, nothing special in the race, like Dave said. I think it's very tight, though. I wouldn't be surprised if any of them won it. The two that sort of are on my shortlist, the Flaming Princess of Richard Fahey. She was 6th in the Cornwallis last time. I think she wants soft ground. I doubt it was soft enough for her. And she just got going too late. The only time she ran over 6 furlongs, she blew out badly, but I think she was beaten before the trip was an issue then, so I'd give her another chance. And Milltown Star just come back with a career best on soft ground last time, finishing second at Newmarket in what looked like a fairly good nursery. So there'd be my 2 against the field, but no great confidence in this one.
Niall, who is your selection?
This is actually one of my biggest fans of the day in Arc Power for Tim Easterby, so I'm really hoping the meeting goes ahead. He was massively impressive visually at York last time, and having checked the times, it looks even better in the context of this race. Luckily enough, there was a handicap won by Moss Gill in the same card, who's rated about 90. He's a 3-year-old, and when he compared the times, they were very closely matched. I think Arc Power would actually been second in that competitive handicap, which is very impressive for a 2-year-old to do, and only a second start. The fact he's proven with foot on the ground is also a big plus. My only small concern is the step up and trip from 5 furlongs to 6 furlongs on this, what is going to be very deep ground if it goes ahead. But I think it'll be okay. I've seen 5-1 around. I could see him going off with 5-2 or shorter.
Okay, the 325 at Donny is the Vertem Futurity, previously known obviously as the Racing Post Trophy, one of the most prestigious 2-year-old races of the year and a springboard for classic winners down the years. This year's race is slightly different. It hit the headlines earlier in the week when 11 of the 12 entries came from Aidan O'Brien's stable, and sure enough, that has been reflected in the race itself. 6 runners, 5 from Aidan O'Brien, and a sole entry from Andrew Balding's stable. Mogul, the hot favourite, Niall.
Yeah, he's our 2-on favourite at the moment. Innisfree is 4-1, Kamiko 9-2, Louisiana 16-1, Iberia 22-1, and Royal County Down is 40-1.
It's disappointing, Niall, isn't it? But I mean, I suppose Mogul could go on and be a decent horse, couldn't he? It's still a race, isn't it? What do you make of it? Is there a betting angle?
I think there is. It is a bit disappointing. I'm going to take on Mogul here. Like, he's 2-on at the moment with ourselves. If you're pricing the race based on form and looking at times and stuff like that, like, he'd be much bigger. The one I'm going to come down in is Kamiko, obviously the only non-Aidan O'Brien horse in the race. But he was disappointing last time behind Royal Dornoch, but at least I think they broke the juvenile track record that day with the aid of a tailwind. But it gives the form a decent look. With the third year of the Tiger went on to run on quite well in the Dewhurst, went fourth. So I don't think it's the worst form in the world. Like Mogul's last 2 starts, when you watch the race at Leopardstown, you're not blowing away at all. And if you look at the time, it was very slow. It's about 3 seconds slower than the other 2 mile races on the same card. So I don't know, like he only did what he had to, I suppose. But yeah, you couldn't put a positive spin on it looking at that. The other O'Brien horse, Innisfree, when looking at times for him as well, he's even more unimpressive. Like he won the Beresford on a card at the Curragh. There was a filly's maiden on the same card that was faster overall with faster sections. So I wouldn't be having him. Kamiko brings the best form to the table. Like that second in Sandowns also worked out with Al Suhail, the Godolphin horse who was third, went on to run well at Newmarket last week. So yeah, I just think Kamiko at the prices, like we're 9-2. I've seen as big as 6-1 out there. I think he'd be much shorter. So yeah, Kamiko for me. Okay,
Keels, are you going to desert the Fav as well?
No, I don't think so. I mean, look, on times, he's definitely got loads to prove because, he hasn't won a fast time in his life. But he's the one the O'Briens seem to have come down on. And, O'Brien's won this 9 times, and the last 6 winners of his went off favourite. And the only British runner is Kamiko. And I've got a real problem with him going on soft ground. I mean, yeah, he looks good. He's got the best form. He's got the best speed figure, etc. But it's all fast ground form, and he's going to be running, if the meeting is on absolutely bottomless ground. I don't think he's bred for it.
So who are you going to go for?
I just think the favourite will win. The market just gets it right.
Okay, DJ, I mean, John Dance is a great guy. He's put so much into the sport, and he's obviously, stumped up to sponsor this Group 1. It's a shame for him, and we've got to hope it's a one-off, but we might get a decent winner out of it. You normally do, don't you? Who is the winner going to be?
Yeah, I agree with Keels. I think Mogul will probably win. You could make a case for saying he's too short for what he's done so far. He's only officially rated 108 at identical rating to Kamiko. So, but I just think there's a couple of things. Like I know the time you're saying the time was very slow at Leopardstown, Niall, and that's a valid point. But the fact that it was so slow meant they kind of sprinted in the closing stages, and from the 2 furlong pole, they really did quicken up, and that's probably why he wasn't able to put distance and clear daylight between himself and Sinewan. On a line through Shakem, the Dermot Weld horse, Mogul beat Shakem by 3 1/4 lengths at the Curragh, whereas Innisfree only beat Shakem by a neck on the 2 occasions they have met at Galway and the Curragh. So on a strict line through Shakem, it might just be improving. Mogul is about a 3 length better horse than Innisfree, and that's the way the market has taken it as well. From talking to Donnacha and from talking to Aidan all the way along about these juveniles, I just got the impression from both of them that Mogul was top of their pecking order. Now, obviously, Arizona ran a cracker against Pinatubo in the Dewhurst, but just from their point of view, Mogul is probably the unexposed, promising one who might just have more to offer. And I think he'll cope with the ground. He's like his relations, he's a brother to Japan, a brother to Secret Jester, a brother to Sir Isaac Newton. Like he's bred to be pretty special. And while he won't need to be pretty special to win this, I think he probably will. I think it's relatively straightforward. I think Mogul will beat Innisfree.
Okay, the 4 o'clock at Doncaster is far from straightforward. A very difficult 5 furlong handicap called the Doncaster Handicap. Let's get the prices from Niall.
Yes, we're paying 5 places here. And Came from the Dark is our 5-1 favourite. A Moment of Madness is 6-1. Tarbouche 13-2. Danzino 8-1. Orvar 8-1. Fairy Stories 12-1. Copper Knife 14. The Heek 14. And it's 16-1 bar.
What have you sussed for us, Keels?
Yeah, I've backed a couple. I mean, you can make a case for plenty, but I backed Orvar and Sahik. They were actually first and second on soft ground at this track in August. Orvar won, Sahik might well have won if he'd got a clear run. Orvar's a little bit in and out, but he was third last time at York, third of 22, bouncing back to form. He does like this track. He's £4 higher than last time, but he's still £10 lower than when he started the year, so he certainly handicapped the win. And I think Sahek has been running like a horse all season. He's a good deal better than his mark and hasn't had things quite go his way. He had Eye Shield blinkers combination for the first time at Southall last time and won pretty easily. I think that might just boosted his confidence a little bit. He has won here as well as finishing second, and I do think he likes soft ground, so there'd be the two for me. Who's
the selection for you, David?
I'm quite sweet on Orvar here. I agree with Keels. I just thought the last day, I watched the race and he would poke your eye out during the race. He travelled so well. And I just thought Danny Tudhope kind of 2 out. He had everything kind of beaten on his side. And Moskill and the action with the first and second kind of happened over the far side. Now, obviously, they weren't too far away from him. But I just thought he had everything kind of dealt with on his side. And I just thought if he came from the same position as where Moskill was, he would have got an awful lot closer. Just loved the way he travelled through that race. I was praying that he would be entered for this race and that he'd take up his engagement. And he has. He's off the same mark here in 91. Paul Hannigan takes over. You know, on some of his old form, he's really well handicapped. And yeah, like Keels, I'm pretty sweet on Orvar here.
And what about you, Niall?
Yeah, I thought McCanna was very interesting for Julie Camacho here. He ran very well in the Portland a few starts ago, coming up the far side on his own to finish a good 7th. He's beaten around 2 lengths. He then ran a Carrick last week in bottomless ground, which again, I suppose it could be here. But he looked disappointing on the face of it. But when you watch the race back, he shaped much better than that result. He was drawn very wide, nearly kind of rushed to the front and then just got tired late on. He has form at Doncaster, and this 5 furlongs on soft ground should be his ideal, I think. As long as it doesn't get completely bottomless. So yeah, I think he looks overpriced at 20 to 1 or so. McCanna, that is.
OK, Jumps fans, we'll get to Cheltenham soon. But first, let's do the 2 ITV4 races at Newbury. Starting with the 220, it's the Teddington RBL Poppy Appeal Stakes, better known as the St Simon, a 1.5 miles on heavy ground. It will take some getting. And what's the latest betting from Paddy Power?
Yeah, so Miranda was our 5 to 2 favourite. Royal Line is 11 to 4. Young Rascal 11 to 4. Manuela de Vega 9 to 2. King's Advice 8 to 1. And Spirit of Appin is 25 to 1.
DJ, you're going first.
Yeah, I think listeners will know what I'm going to be going for here, and this is a proper horse, this Royal Line. This is the one, if you remember many moons ago, Bruce, I told you I had the winner of the Ebor. I told you to back Royal Line. Unfortunately, the ground didn't soften enough for him, and he didn't take up his engagement there. But since then, he's been quite impressive, I thought, in a Group 3 at Kempton, and I just absolutely adored his run last week behind Kew Gardens and Stradivarius in the Long Distance Cup. Like, he obviously isn't as good as those two over that trip. But my God, the whole way through the race, the ease with which he travelled on that ground. I think 1.5 miles, bottomless ground at Newbury. Like, we've seen what he can do on soft ground. The way he won the November handicap at Doncaster last year off a mark of 105, to me, put him virgin on Group 1 class on this type of ground. I think on this ground, over about 1.6 miles, he's a Group 1 horse. It's 1.4 miles here. I think he'll be fine. He's enough speed to cope with it. He's been trained all season with an autumn campaign in mind. I think on this ground, he's by far the best horse in the race, and I'll be bitterly disappointed if Royal Line doesn't win.
A very confident vote for Royal Line for David Jennings. Niall O'Reilly, do you echo David's thoughts?
I echo it to the extent that I think he's the most likely winner, but I'm actually going to go for a value one in here. We're actually 9 to 2 bet Manuela de Vega, but there's as big as 8 to 1 out there, which I think looks very big for Rafe Beckett. Yeah, look, she looked like she's a bit defined, but with the weight for age at this time of year, I think it looks pretty generous to me. Like, she's getting 12 pounds off Miranda and Royal Line. Miranda's just not a horse I like. I didn't like him last time at Ascot and he won easily, but I actually think that race fell apart. He won it in a slow time as well, so I wouldn't be taking that form too literally myself. Like I said, Royal Line is the massive chance. Young Rascal is often absent, so I don't know how you could back him. Rafe Beckett is in unbelievable form. I don't know what his strike rate has been the last 2 weeks, but he's going so well. Manuela de Vega, I thought she wanted 1.6 miles, but it turns out I don't think she properly stays that. This drop back to 1.4 miles on proper soft ground could be her ideal condition. So yeah, at the price, I'm just going to chance her.
Lovely stuff. Yeah, King Rafe fans are really enjoying this current purple patch from the Maestro. Are you going to go with King Rafe as well, Keels?
I am, yeah. I've already backed her. I mean, look, she does have a fair bit to find. I think she definitely wants soft ground, and she's actually going to get it for the first time this year. I mean, it was good to soft when she was second at Chester, and she really travelled really well on it then earlier in the season. And I think that's what she wants. She does have plenty to find. Obviously, I think Royal Lion probably is the one to beat, but he's penalised, and they are giving her a lot away. And it's funny for an open group race. This has got to be one of the very few that's been won more times in the last 40 years by fillies and mares than it has by colts and geldings. I was speaking to Gerald Delamere the other day, and apparently it's 22-18 to the fillies, which is amazing. You don't normally get that sort of stat. And for whatever reason, whether it's autumn, fillies improving in the autumn just seem to take off. But I will take a chance on her because I think she's been waiting for soft ground.
Okay, so David Jennings likes Royal Lion, and the other two like Manuela de Vega for Inform King. Rafe Beckett, who is also the man with the plan in our next race, the 250, the Cancom Stakes, better known as the Horace Hill Stakes, is for 2-year-olds over 7 furlongs. And Beckett is the man with the favourite here in Kinross, Niall.
Yeah, he is indeed. Kinross, their 6-5 favourite. Year of the Tigers 5-1. Boccaccio was 11-2. New World Tapestry 6-1. Surf Dancer 7-1. Kensai Warrior 9-1 and 20-1 bar.
Pretty easy this, Niall, isn't it? Fav wins.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see this horse. It was definitely the most impressive being with a debut. He absolutely bolted in Newmarket. He just won so easily. The way he went through the race, everything. I was hoping that the clock would back it up. That obviously like when it does, and when you break it down, it was a monstrous effort as well. He ran an overall time nearly a second and a half faster than the handicap on the same card, won by Dutch Treat. That's the equivalent of about 7 lengths. On top of that, he ran the fastest closing section on the entire card, and to do that on top of a very fast overall time, it takes some doing. So he could be a serious horse. I actually think he's the value in the Guineas market as well. If he gets beaten here, I'll be so disappointed. It's not a strong field. Obviously, the stable is bombing, as we said earlier. So yeah, Kinross for me.
Do you like Kinross, Kills?
I certainly liked the performance. I'm just a bit worried about a horse that runs so well first time and then coming out just a couple of weeks later on what's going to be awful ground and repeating it. It's funny. I fell for one last year in this race, 11-8 favourite. Like Kinross, had won by 8 lengths the previous time. Put up a fair figure, not as big as Kinross to be fair, but sunk without trace at odds of 11-8. And apparently only 3 of the last 40 winners of this came straight from a maiden after one run. I don't know whether that's because the fact that it's always bottomless ground there, but I think you probably need a bit of experience. And my other worry is that he's done all that very nice and easy, but he's by Kingman, and I think Kingman gets a fair few softies. And if it does, if he doesn't really like the ground, I'd just see him chucking it in. It's a bit early to say that about any horse when he's won so easily first time out, but I'm not going to be betting 5 to 4 shots on bottomless ground second time out at Newbury, so it'll have to be something else in the race for me. And I think Year of the Tiger, Aidan O'Brien's, there's plenty of good form there. Okay, beaten 6 3/4 lengths by Pinatubo in the Dewhurst last time, but you can knock that as much as you like, but it's probably the best form in the race as it stands, even better than what Kinross did first time out. So he's still got to improve to win at odds of 5 to 4. And no, it doesn't interest me. And if you want to back a complete outsider, I don't think Ropey Guest is being given an awful lot of credit for what he's done. He's been placed in 3 Group 3s already this season. Okay, he's only a sort of a 99 rated horse, but the Mill Reef is never that good a race. It dropped in value over the years, and you don't get many brilliant horses running it anymore. So he's a 40 to 1 shot. I might have a little bit each way on that too.
There wouldn't be too many races where Aidan O'Brien has 2 runners and they're ridden by Frankie Dettori and Sean Levy down the years. DJ, what's your view on the Fav here?
Yeah, I like after Pinatubo's national stakes win at the Curragh, this performance was the one that I was most impressed with by a juvenile this year. It was just everything you'd want. He kind of was sluggish enough away, and just the ease with which he got it done was seriously impressive. Now I know where Keels is coming from. That horse last year, I think Keels was chairman of the board of Mick Shannon's, and I remember being on this podcast with you and you tipping it up, and I was thinking this horse must be a monster if Keels is tipping up a short price favourite that has only ran once, so I kind of fell for it myself last year, and there is the temptation to do similarly here with Kinross. I think with Kinross, I think it's a case of not backing him maybe here, but if you think he'd win, back him for the Guineas, because to me, if I was having, like Niall, if I was having a bet on the Guineas now, I'd back Kinross, given the time, given the ease of which he won. As regards Year of the Tiger, like the one bad piece of form is that superlative stakes run. But Aidan has said time and time again that he was completely sick that day. He came back, he wasn't right at all, and he had a couple of months off, and his 2 runs since then have been rock solid. Like, you could definitely see him finishing in the 3. The one that I thought could be a huge price here and that could run well is Impressor of Marcus Tregonings. Just thought he hated the really quick ground last time, couldn't handle it at all. I think these conditions would be more to his liking. There was soft in the going description when he won at Salisbury. I think he's a decent horse. Now, whether he's good enough to win this, I don't know, but he's going to be a huge price. He could be 33-1. I could see Impressor running really well, but I do really hope and pray that Kinross wins.
Well done, lads. Great stuff there on our 5 flat races. We've got 4 fascinating but fiendishly difficult races at Cheltenham coming up.
So, does an each-way bet mean that my horse has to do part of the race in reverse?
Everyone loves a newbie. That's why Paddy Power Games are giving all new customers 60 free spins on daily jackpot games. New Paddy Power Games customers only. 1 per customer. T's and C's apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Welcome back. Let's tackle these 4 races at Cheltenham. We know the rain is coming. The ground is going to be very, very soft indeed. And they're wide open, these races. The first is the 2 o'clock, the Matchbook Betting Exchange Handicap Chase over 3 Mile 1. Niall, how do Paddy Power bet on this?
So there's another one of our extra place races. We're paying 5 places here, which is definitely needed. Looks so competitive. The Young Masters 7-1 favourite. Coggery is 7-1. Rock the Casbah 8-1. Captain Chaos 8-1. 1 for Road Tom 8-1. Rocky's Treasure 10-1 and 12-1 bar.
You'd have backed a few of these down the years, Kills, wouldn't you? Who's going to come out on top?
Pretty much all of them, to be honest. I would say, the thing about this race is it's absolutely dominated the market by horses that want good ground. And they ain't going to get it. It's gone soft in places before the first race at Cheltenham today. So I think you need to look a little bit further down the market for a bit of value. There's 2 that I like. One of them is Captain Chaos for Dan Skelton. Now, he's had a run. You've got to forgive that run because he was 6-7 to Ballyoptic. Got beaten miles. But that was at that Chepstow meeting a couple of weeks ago, and there were loads of horses that just needed to run badly there. So I'd be happy enough to forgive that. He's been rated as high as 144. He started last season on 142. Didn't hit any good form until he got some soft ground. Then he was second in the rehearsal chase at Newcastle and second again in the Roland Merrick at Weatherby. And he's on a mark of 133 now. I think that's a mark that he could well take advantage of. He was 6th in the Kim Muir in March as well on easiest going, so he handles the ground, and that was under Gina Andrews. He's got Bridget Andrews on this time, so I think he's got a big shot. And the other one is West Approach, a right old hound of a dog, and you just don't know what sort of dog, what sort of horse is going to turn up. He actually got smashed off the boards in the Bet365 Gold Cup last year. When we last saw, he was 6th of 15. They went off 5-1 favourite, having been the previous 5 starts, 25s, 40s, 20s, 30s, 33s and 33s. Don't know what he was doing at that price, but he was a decent, it was a decent hurdler, 150s odd, and he's always gone extremely well fresh. He was third in this race last year, first time out of a mark 143. He's £3 lower now. He won a novice chase by 9 lengths first time up in 2017. Was second to Holstone over hurdles at this track, first time out in 2016. So this might be the time to catch him. He's 16-1. Strange to see about a horse who went on 5-1 for such a big race on his last start.
Okay, Kills is chucking a couple of darts at the opener at Cheltenham. Captain Chaos and West Approach. What is your strategy going to be, David Jennings?
I fancy West Approach. Sorry about this, Keels. I'm ruining all your Saturday selections. Echo basically everything Keels has said. Like, I think with West Approach, I think he's one of these horses, and we all know what these are like, that you just catch them one day. I think you get one day out of them, and I just think this could be the one day with West Approach. He's not going to live up to early expectations. Like, when he won his bumper first time out at Newbury, he was on bottomless ground. So he copes with conditions. He's won after 197-day break. His best run of last season was on the back of a 189-day break. And just when you go through the different snippets of form, like, he's rated 150 over hurdles, he's £10 lower over fences, he goes well fresh, he handles the ground, and on a line through just say Paisley Park, who he was second to in the long walk at Ascot last year, he's only beaten 2 lengths. like, if he does get into a rhythm here and he's on a going day, like, he had some really good horses behind him that day, the likes of Top Notch and Call Me Lord and all them type of things. So off 140, given how well he goes fresh, it's just got to be West Approach for me.
You're going to go for West Approach, Niall?
Yeah, I'm actually a bit sickened that the two lads have put it up. I really fancy this. He just looks the best handicapped horse in the race to me. He was a very good third in the race last year, as Keel said. He's 3 pence lower here, and he's Robbie Power, who I think is one of the best jockeys at getting horses jumping, because his jumping can be a bit sketchy at the time. As Keel said as well, he was smashed up in the Bet365 Gold Cup last year. I remember pricing the race and seeing the gamble and wondering where they were seeing this from, considering the trip, but we couldn't stop laying him. I think he went off 5-1 or so, and he just didn't seem to stay to me. Colin Tizard has started the season quite well, and this horse, as Keel said, I think Dave mentioned as well, his record fresh reads a 1-2-1-3, and he's gone close when he was second and third in very good races. He obviously handled soft ground, so that suits as well. As the lad said, he's rated 151 over hurdles, having chased home Paisley Park a few times. Just off a mark of 140. I've seen 16-1 around. I'd be single figures. I think we're 12 at the moment. But West are both quite strong in this.
Sensational start to our Cheltenham preview. All three of the lads going for a 16-1 shot in Western Approach. Let's see what they make of the next race. The 2:35, the Masterson Holdings hurdle over 2 miles and half a furlong. Niall, give us a show.
Torpillo is our 9-4 favourite. Keldastan 7-2. Soviet Pimpernel 7-2. Nelson River 6-1. Fan de Soy 15-2. Construct 8-1. Having a good time 12-1. Kaiser 20. And the outsider to field is Effernock Biz at 40. And
DJ, we're back with you to go first.
Yeah, I think this will probably go to Soviet Pimpernel. They think the absolute world of this horse. Oh my God! Like this is the next Peregrine Run in the Peter Fatty stable. They just absolutely adore him, and his form is starting to stack up a little bit. The Listowel bumper he won. He beat the Little Yank. The Little Yank has come back and won twice and did well to win a Cork last Sunday. Now, he jumped a little bit big at Gorham Park last time, and it looked as if he'd been schooled over fences the way he jumped. But speaking to the jockeys that day, I think that the hurdles at Gorham Park that day were quite abrupt, and a lot of horses were getting scared by it, and we had a few fallers at Gorham that day. So I wouldn't read too much into how high he jumped there. He's obviously got a serious engine. Like his debut form behind 6 Shooter at Leopardstown, a race he was only sent off 2-1 for. It was snowing heavily that day. That seems pretty good form as well. Now he has huge improvement to find. Like he's run against horses that are rated 148 and 142. But hearing the things I'm hearing about him and just looking at him in the flesh, I think he has the potential to be at least a Grade 2 hurdler. Now he'll need to be here and he lacks experience, but I think he's worth taking a chance on. The way sometimes you just get an impression with a horse. I think he could be a very good horse. So Soviet Pimpernel for me. Okay,
and Niall, do you agree with that one?
I do, yeah. I hadn't really heard much about the horse, and then I got a tip for it on Monday or Tuesday, and was told to back it for this race. Now, I just thought that would mean the race is going to cut up, which it normally means when you get a tip in this office. But someone had obviously heard this is working very well, similar to what Dave said, that the vibes are extremely strong. Now, on form, I think Racing Post ratings needing to find about £40 or so, but I think it's much closer than that. Like Torpillo's rated 148 and must be one of the worst handicapped horses going into the season. I think that race he won at Chepstow must have been awful if he was able to win that so easily. Keldastan could go off favourite today, but he was disappointing at Bath. So yeah, Soviet Pimpernel, the fact of bringing him over, and as the vibes are so strong, I'll just stick with him.
I suspect the universal views of these races are about to end. Kills, this isn't your sort of horse.
It's not my sort of horse at all, is it? Christ almighty. Are you really going to back a horse at 7-2 with 3 stone to find? Beat a horse by 2.5 lengths last time. Okay, won easily. That horse was rated 92. No matter how well you think Torpillo is handicapped, this isn't a handicap. And, he would have beaten that horse by 35 lengths on the bridle. So, look, he might be a really, really good horse and we might see it, but he's priced up as though he already is, and that's stupid. You got to lay him for a place. Don't bet him 7-2 now. If he doesn't drift, they'll give up the game, no matter how much they fancy him. I mean, let's just say Effernock Fizz, who looks like the 40-1 outsider, has an official rating of 142. He's 2 stone better than Soviet Pimpernel, and he's 40-1. Something wrong with the market. If you want to back a horse at that price, then you're in the wrong game. You really are.
2 words for you, Kills. 2 words. The Revenant.
Didn't win, did it? And I backed the winner.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, the Revenant didn't have that much to find anyway, did it? To be fair, like, you know what I mean? You know, he only had £5 or £6 to find, not 35 or 36. Like, you know.
He hasn't had a chance to prove
of
that he's up to that mark. I know you're only saying the market,
but he's priced as though he's the second best horse in the race. When his form tells you he's easily, at the moment, got the worst form. He ran to a racing post rating of 108. We've got Torpedo running at 147. I mean, that's a world of difference.
Who wins then, Kills?
I think Torpedo wins. I don't think he's the most robust horse in the world, but you know, he was very, very impressive on soft and heavy ground. First 2 starts last season, obviously didn't beat a great deal, and then he lost his form. But you know, this is only his second start, and you know, I thought he looked good at Chepstow. He looked like he was going to win all the way round, and I think he might do it again.
Okay, one of the beauties of this time of year is all our old favourite names coming back out, and there's loads of them here in the 310, the Randox Health Handicap Chase. Over 2 miles on soft ground. It's going to be a really interesting race. This 4-1 the field, Niall.
Yeah, it is 4-1 the field. McGroarty is our 4-1 favourite. Knockness is 5-1. Freeland Das 5-1. St. Calvados 6-1. Masterwork 7-1. Duke and Avon 8-1. Do It for the Village 8-1, Maracuja 8-1, and 10-1 Bar.
Who's your money on, Niall?
Yeah, I'm quite sweet on one here as well. Maracuja for the Skeleton. He's been on my tracker since last season. He ran a very eye-catching race in the Grand Annual. Horses that were held up that day in that race were at a massive disadvantage because of how slow they went, and he actually ran really well. He was held up to an extreme, made up a lot of ground late on. He got as close as he could in the circumstances, and he's £2 lower here. I've had a feeling that they might target a race like this with him. He's run 2 below average races in his last 2 starts. So I think they were just kind of protecting this mark and waiting for one of the big meetings. The race itself, to me, doesn't look great. And you've got the added benefit in there because he needs a fast pace. You have Knockness, who's an aggressive front runner, and you have St. Calvados in here. So I think they're going to go off pretty hard and take each other on. I think they're going to set it up for Maracuja, who I think is the best handicapped horse in the race. The Skeletons are obviously, they're always going well, but they're going well at the moment. So at 8-1, I definitely think he's worth backing.
Niall likes Maracuja. Kills. Who do you like?
I'd like to ask Noel a question.
Go on.
How do you get a thoroughly exposed dodge pot like Maracuja in your tracker? What on earth is that about?
I was just doing it. I was doing
a good horse with Paul Nicholls in 1974, for Christ's sake. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, he hasn't won for ages. Can't see it. Bryony Frost had to absolutely kid him home in February 2018. That's when he last won. Take him out of your track. Don't use a tracker, mate. Waste of time. Anyway, the one good point you have got there was the fact that it is going to be really, really strongly run, and I think that might suit Duke of Navan. He might be rising 12, but he was second in the race last year, only just beaten ahead by Modus. He's on the same mark. He's going to get the race run to suit. He acts on good or soft ground, and I think he'll run well.
How can you possibly decry trackers? You've got the worst memory on planet Earth.
Yeah, but it means I have to dig into the race again and have a proper look, rather than say, let's have a look at this. I mean, you've got to really, how could Maracuja be in anyone's tracker? I bet it's not in anybody else's tracker.
Yeah, but trackers per se, honestly, I find my tracker is the most useful tool I have. It gives me so many winners, honestly.
Fear that I will just get lazy and back whatever's in it, which I don't think you should do.
Well, the other trouble is, of course, you end up with a Graham Rodway tracker, which has got virtually 60% of all horses in training.
Oh, yeah, exactly, yeah.
David Jennings, who wins this?
I'm all over St. Calvados here, Bruce, for a couple of different reasons. The first of them is, I think with St. Calvados, in many ways, is a bit like Apple's Jade, which will sound absolutely bizarre, but I think Apple's Jade in the first half of the season bullies horses from the front that are not fit enough, that are gradually getting into their season and are not ready. They're not a pitch. They're just not a pitch point for the season, and she takes care of them. I think St. Calvados does something similar. If you remember, this time last season, he made his first start of the season at Naas in a race that Footpad was in. Footpad fell at the last. He had Footpad completely taken care of. He had just, because it was Footpad's first start of the season, he just annoyed him and take him out of his comfort zone. And I think that's what St. Calvados does. I think on deep ground at this time of the year, when he's fresh and when all the others are just needing a run, I think he exposes the chinks in their armour at this time of the year. So I've been waiting all summer for St. Calvados to come out. I thought he might potentially run in the old roan at Aintree, but he's going to get his ground here. Obviously, there's a load of front runners in the race, but I don't think any of them are going to go as quick as St. Calvados does. And I think he's going to take so many of them out of their comfort zone. And a lot of them are having their first starts of the season. He's had a wind operation. For the last couple of seasons, he's produced arguably his best performance first time out. So now is the time to catch him. I think off 155, he's capable of winning on this ground. So it is a strong vote for St. Calvados for me.
And wrapping up a marathon 9-race TV session is the 3:45 at Cheltenham, the Pertemps Network Handicap qualifier over 3 miles. Blimey, this is tough. Niall, take it away with the show.
So To Be Fair is our 5-1 favourite. I Right is 5-1. Robin the Raven is 6-1. The Clock is Ticking 6-1. Gunfleet 8-1. Captain Tommy 9-1. Sunset Showdown 9-1. Never Been to Paris 9-1, and it's 12-1 bar.
Keels, before you tell us who you think is going to win, just take us through what the situation is with Pertemps qualifiers. What do they need to do? Just turn up, or
No, they have to finish in the first 6. Basically, so if you finish in the first 6, you are qualified. Now, the other thing is you probably have to be rated somewhere between 135 and 138 to get in. So, I don't think this race is, it's too early in the season to be, has ever, or at least in the last 10, 15 years, produced the winner of the race. They normally run in ones closer to the meeting, but all bar a handful of these probably need to win to get in it anyway. And
who's going to win it?
And then protect their handicap marks afterwards. Well, I'm hoping Gunfleet. I'm not sure he wants the ground that soft, but I think he looked like he might be a potentially good novice chaser last year when he started really well when he was second to Justice Sting, but he lost his confidence a bit after that. And I just like the way he ran over hurdles at Stratford last couple of weeks ago when fourth to Bore and Bill. He might have been favourite. I think 2 miles 6 furlong around Stratford was way sharp. Too sharp for him though. He's already a 3 mile winner on his last novice hurdle in February 2018, and the winner of that is now rated in the high 140s. And I just think he's very, very unexposed as a hurdler, and he's running off a mark of 133 for Emma Lavelle, who's had a lot of horses run really well already this season. He'd be the one for me.
Okay, there's 13 runners, and it's a 5th the odds of the first 4. So an extra place at paddypower.com and on the Racing Post app. David Jennings, who do you like here?
I like 2. My second choice would be Gunfleet. My first choice would be The Clock is Ticking for Stuart Edmonds and Kieran Gettins. Has had a wind operation. Probably hasn't lived up to expectations. Like, he's been sent off favourite or joint favourite on his last 3 starts. But, they are, hot handicap chases at Uttoxeter twice. And last time at Warwick in another handicap chase where it was a funny sort of race. Just kind of got a pace at a crucial stage and rallied a little bit. But Warwick is a funny track. Them fences come thick and fast on the side of the track. So I'd be willing to forgive him that. If the wind up has made a difference off a mark of 132, I think he's got a right chance here. He's ran well at Cheltenham before. He was actually 6th in the Pertemps final behind Sire de Burlay in March, and again stayed on quite strongly that day. That was off a mark of 138, so he's £6 lower now. So I think The Clock is Ticking. If that wind operation has made a difference, I think he'll be bang there.
Niall O'Reilly, who's your selection?
The one I'm quite keen on has Never Been to Paris for Harry Whittenden. Now, he had his first start for the stable about 2 weeks ago. He was second to Bore and Bill, who runs at Cheltenham today. That was quite a good debut. At the time, Harry Whittenden's horses weren't running brilliantly, but he's had a couple of winners since that. So I think this horse will actually come on for the run. He's up 129 and he's very unexposed for this trainer. I'd imagine they're targeting the Pertemps final at the festival in March. So he'd want to be winning this and at least qualifying early. So that's Never Been to Paris for Harry Whittenden.
Have you ever been to Paris, Niall?
I don't think so. No, I haven't.
You'd think you'd know, wouldn't you?
No, sorry, I was trying to think back.
It's got that big pointy tower in the middle of it.
No, I thought I was there in a school tour or something like that back in when I was 18 or so, or 17. But yeah, no, I haven't been.
Into the King's Arms, is it? It's fairly unique.
I might have done, yeah. Okay, right then, chaps. Let's see what else you fancy. We've got Kelso, loads of runners at Kelso. Really, really competitive 8-race card there. We've got Leopardstown, we've got Galway, and we've got Chelmsford. We've also got the Cox Plate. I think one of you might have a view on that. So, round up time, and we'll start with Paul Keeley.
Yeah, Kelso, 3:00, quite interesting race. Obviously, one for Arthur coming back, former Grand National winner. Vintage Cloud in that race. Got a really, really good record fresh, but Sue Smith started incredibly slowly this season, so I'll be worried about that. And I think I like the Nigel Twiston-Davies top weight Blue Flight, really progressive novice chaser. Finished fourth to taking risks in the Scottish National on its last start. Got a fair amount of weight to carry, but it's only a 6-year-old and has a fair amount more improvement in him, I'd have thought. In the 4:55 at Cheltenham, I think First Assignment won the Pertemps race on this meeting last year. Has a go over fences. Very interested to see how he goes. Good little race. Pim has reportedly jumped really well, but I thought he was a bit soft last year. But we'll see how he goes. But they'd be the two for me for the rest of the Saturday.
DJ, have you just got two?
4, but I'd be very quick. Starting off in that 4:55 at Cheltenham, I just wonder, a bit like West Approach earlier on the card, I wonder, is it the day to catch Slate House, who was held in the highest regard earlier on in his career for Colin Tizard? Puppy Power takes the ride. Like the second, the Huntsman's Son at Newbury last year, is a pretty decent run in the context of this race. He has a bit of experience under his belt. Like, he started chasing off 141, and that's pretty high level. And he has good form at Cheltenham. So I'd be willing to just give Slate House another chance in that 4:55. He ran a shocker in the Arkle, but just that experience might tell. In the 2:40 at Galway, Gold Speed won a nav and bumper from the front, and it was a decent enough nav and bumper. Makes his debut over hurdles, and just think he might just get away from the front. That's Gold Speed in the 2:40 at Galway. In the 5:35 at Galway, Facker the Large runs for Noel Meade, has finished third, was sent off favour for a listed bumper at Limerick on his debut, was third in a Hot Punches 10 bumper last time as well. Repeats either of those runs, I think it'll be good enough to win the 5:35 at Galway, and one at a bigger price in the Tote October handicap at Leopardstown at 4:50. I just think Inscribe has a big handicap in him on soft ground. Gerlines is going to be gunning for Colin Keane to win the title. Obviously, Donnacha is on duty at Doncaster, so this is Colin's day to try and catch up with Donnacha. He's 4 behind. I think Inscribe on this ground over this trip, I think he could be a big player, and he's likely to be a double figure price. That's Inscribe in the 4:50 at Leopardstown.
Thank you, DJ. Niall, what have you got for us?
Yeah, I have two. One is in the last race at Doncaster, so the 5:10. It's interesting, we were actually talking about it earlier. It's called Chairman of the Board, who went off favourite for that Newbury race that Kinross is favourite for. He's running in a handicap here off 84. Now, he hasn't had a great season, but if this meeting goes ahead, this ground should be right up the street. It's an apprentice handicap, so Scott McCulloch would be one of the best riders in the race. And yeah, just off that mark, 84, the fact he definitely handled heavy ground as he won his maiden on it, he looked very well treated in an average race. The other race, the 5:25 Chelmsford. Now, I don't normally bet in Class 6 classified stakes, but there's one on my tracker here again. It's called Salmon Fishing. It's trained by Mohammed Mubarak or something like that. He's just been shaping very well in his last couple of starts. And this looks truly awful. So if he can't win this, I'll be taking him out of the tracker. My other one is in the Cox Plate, but do you want to wait, or will I go with that now?
Yeah, let's do the Cox Plate. Hang on, so when is that and where? Well, we know where it is. It's at Mooney Valley, and it's an early start, isn't it? So Saturday morning, 6:55, 5 to 7. If you get up and stick it on the TV, you'll be able to watch the Cox Plate, a race which Winks has won for the last 4 years, but she's packed off to the paddock, so it won't be her. Who will it be, Niall?
There's a UK horse in here that I think is very interesting. It's called Danceteria. It's trained by David Menusier, if I'm pronouncing that right.
No.
Yeah, he's got I was close though. he's got a serious record when racing abroad. He's won several races in France, and I think one in Germany. He was last seen in the UK when he was 4th of 8 in the Eclipse behind Enable, with Magical obviously in second, and he the likes of Moustachery, who won a few weeks ago in Newmarket, in behind him. I think that's actually up there with the best form in the race. Like Magic Wand is a 12 to 1 shot. I think he's got better form than her at the moment. I think we're at 17 to 1, which is a new price I'm seeing here. But like he's 16 to 1 generally. I think that looks very big. He's got a serious turn of foot, so I think this racing in Australia will really suit him. So watch him coming for a late run. That's Danceteria.
DJ, you've been to a Cox Plate, haven't you?
Oh yeah, what a night.
Can Jamie Spencer win a race? Mooney Valley's got a very short straight, hasn't it?
Oh, it's funny, they ride completely differently in Australia to what they do here. Like, if you don't get a gap in Australia, you just wait there. You don't try and force the gap, because they just give out suspensions for everything over there. So, like, I remember I had a few bets at Mooney Valley when I was over there, and you could be in the perfect position, third on the inside, turning for home, and you're like, this is travel like a dream the whole way. and then you just stay there. So it's very, very frustrating. Maybe it is tailor-made for Jamie Spencer, trying to weave in and out, but I'm not sure. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I thought Magic Wand had a big chance, but maybe Dancetera for David Muncier. Is that better?
No, that's hopeless as well. Which of Winks? Yeah, that's it. Which of Winks' Cox Plates did you see, DJ?
The third one, the one that she gave everybody a heart attack. It was, the second horse was, oh God. It'll come to me. Continue on, it'll come to me.
Don't worry about it. But that'd be one. That would be one of the great trips, that, wouldn't it? Down under. I mean, I know it's obviously expensive, but I mean, if you've got it on your bucket list, do try and tick it off, because the Spring Carnival's something else, isn't it?
Unbelievable, yeah. Oh, I still dream about it. Yeah, it was magic.
Excellent stuff. Right then, let's get some naps, and hopefully people can win enough to book a ticket for the Melbourne Cup. This will not be beaten. Keels, lead on.
Yeah, I think Gunfleet in the 325, 345 at Cheltenham.
Which one is it?
I've no idea. Hang on a sec.
It's a 345.
It's a 345, yeah, Gunfleet. I think it's very well handicapped.
David Jennings?
That Humidor was the name of the horse that Winks just beat that day, by the way. Mine, I'll be so disappointed if Royal Line doesn't win the 220 at Newbury.
Oh, be prepared to be disappointed then. And Niall O'Reilly.
2 o'clock Cheltenham West approach.
Well done, mate. Right, that's lovely. Let's look at Sunday, because there's some great stuff coming up.
Check out Paddy's Rewards Club. Simply place 5 bets of £10 or more across any sport in a week, and you'll get a free £10 bet then next week. T&Cs apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Welcome back to the best weekend racing preview show anywhere. It's the Racing Postcast. Bruce Millington, Paul Keeley, David Jennings, and Paddy Power's Niall O'Reilly. Let's look ahead to Sunday then, and one of the best Sunday jumps races you'll get all season. It's the 3 o'clock at Aintree, the Virgin Bet, Monet's Garden, Old Roan, a limited handicap over 2.5 miles. Some great names in here. Niall O'Reilly gives a show of betting from Paddy Power.
So Kalashnikov is their 5-4 favourite. Frodon is 5-2. Born Survivor 13-2. Forest being 13-2. Big Martyr 14, and Flying Angel is 14 as well. Should be
a cracker, David Jennings. Who will pass the post in front?
Oh, I absolutely love this race. Oh, I love it. I think Forest Behan will, would you believe? Obviously, Frodon, Ryanair winner. Kalashnikov, Grade 1 winner at Aintree. Both very, very good horses. Proper Grade 1 horses. But I just think with Forest Behan, one of the things is Brian Ellison would bloody train me to win a sprint the way he's going at the minute. Everything he's throwing at the track is winning. And with Forest Behan, I just think he's rated 149, and he's so used to, he's not a grade 1 horse, so he's so used to carrying big weights and handicaps and running well, that I think the fact that he's able to carry 10 stone 4 here is going to be massive for him, because he's not the biggest horse in the world.
Why'd you have to say that? Why does everyone say that? Just say he's a small horse. There's only one horse in the world who's the biggest horse in the world, so it's not likely to be him, is it?
Whoa. I don't know.
Brilliant. Go on. You found something that really gets Bruce's goat there.
It just drives me mad. Everyone says it. Go on.
I feel like I haven't put the bins out and Aoife's given out to me there or something. Yeah. Well, that took me back a bit. He's quite a small horse, so I think the fact that he only has to carry 10 stone 4 will suit him. He just blew up in between the second last and the last at Kelso in his reappearance. You know, he's got some really good form, like 4th in the Grand Annual. Obviously, he has to get up to a level that he's probably never reached before. I just think the way the race is likely to be run, and I do think he'll stay. I think he'll creep into contention under Brian Hughes, so Forest Behan for me.
Is that going to be the last time you tip that horse, DJ? Because you tip him every single time, don't you?
Yeah, I'm petrified to do anything now.
Right then, Noel, what have you got for us?
Look, Frodon's a top-class horse. So I'd probably back Kalashnikov to beat him outright off levels. So the fact he's getting a stone here, if he can't beat him, I'd be very, very disappointed. He has the course form from last year when he obviously won the Manifesto quite impressively. And I think he's a serious horse to go to war with for Amy Murphy. I think they're doing the right thing. They're going to target the Ryanair this year. He's only a 6-year-old at the moment, so he has plenty of time to go for the Gold Cup the following year and the years or after that. So, yeah, that's Kalashnikov. I think he should be winning this.
Kills, it's a great day, isn't it, when you get the chance to see the likes of Frodon and Kalashnikov in action against each other?
Absolutely. I don't think Frodon ever gets the credit he deserves. He's an absolutely top-class horse, and I tell you what, I'd be smashing him up all over the place off levels against Kalashnikov at the moment. For a horse who's only a year older than Kalashnikov, he's achieved an incredible amount, He's earned 570 grand's worth of prize money so far. He's only 7. A lovely horse. And obviously, Bryony Frost gets on really well with him. It is a massive task to win a handicap off a mark of 169, though. Forrest Behan, I was convinced he wouldn't stay, hence I had a good bet on him for the 2-mile race at Cheltenham instead. This is the first time he's running over 2.5 miles for about 3 years. Didn't get it over hurdles. We'll see. I like Born Survivor, first time after a wind-up. He's got a fairly impeccable record when fresh. Again, another one with a low weight. Dan Skelton said it is stable tour that he thinks he might still be improving. He's only fairly lightly raced for an 8-year-old. He's won 4 of his 10 chases, won 2 of his last 3, won very easily at Ayr at the Scottish National Meeting off a mark of 142. Obviously he's £10 higher now, but he's got a fair engine on him, and the time to catch him is first time up.
Okay, excellent. Thanks, chaps. Some good stuff there. We've also got on Sunday the rest of the entry card, obviously. Wincanton, Wexford, Galway. There's a couple of Group 1s down at Longchamp as well. Some really interesting runners in action there, including Lati Dar. Who do you like, Kills? What have you got for us away from the old Roan?
Just a couple. Well, obviously, Aintree, there is a Veterans Chase at 150, so I was always going to be very interested in that. My old mate Theatre Guide runs in that, but I think he probably needs another run given the way he ran at Chepstow the other day. So I'm going to go with Captain Redbeard for Stuart Coulthard. He's got some decent handicap formula from last year. Beat Definitely Red at Kelso in a conditions race, but also ran third to Vintage Clouds at Haydock. I mean, he likes these flattish tracks and tends to run Haydock pretty well. Aintree, fairly similar, you'd say. He's flat left-handed, so I'd give him a shot. Well, I think it's probably his first or second go in a Veterans Chase. And in the 245 at Wincanton, again, another horse I backed for Cheltenham for tomorrow. White Moon, trained by Colin Tizard. I think his first time out run over fences last year at Cheltenham when he was brought down at the last, coming to challenge. 2 horses made him the meat in the sandwich and brought him down, basically. On that form, I think he's a very well handicapped horse. He sort of lost the plot a little bit afterwards, but he's another one that might be best caught fresh. Okay, DJ, looking at that Veterans race, is it you who shares my fetish for On Tour? He always seems to sort of nudge into these races, doesn't he? Is it you or is it Siegel? I can't remember.
Yeah, no, it's not me. It's Siegel. He's a lovable old rogue, isn't he? Just kind of plugs on and always seems to get placed. But yeah, no, wouldn't be for me. The one I like on the card is in the 335. It's that novices handicap chase. Daisha Abba for Philip Hobbs and Richard Johnson. I'm convinced he's going to make a really good chaser. He won his only point at Dromahan, a good point by 4 lengths when there was cutting the ground. And first time out at Chepstow, he created quite an impression when he beat Queen of Hearts. Do you remember the good mare for Kieran Gettins last season? Now things went a bit awry afterwards at Ascot and Chepstow, but I just think Fences is going to be the making of him. 3 miles, and he's starting off of a mark of 135. Like, I get the impression he could get to about 150 over Fences, so I think he's a bit to play around with here. That is Daisha Ab in the 335. And just at Galway as well, possibly the most exciting horse you might see this weekend is running in the 140. Battle Over Diane, sent off favourite for the Ballymore, completely sweated up beforehand, lost his race before the race, lost his action during the race. Battle Over Diane has the potential in years to come to become a Gold Cup contender. So I just really hope that he starts his chasing career in style in the 140 at Galway. It's great to see Keith Donoghue riding him as well. Obviously Jack Kennedy is out injured. So there's a few to look forward to on Sunday.
Which race will Battle of Diane win at the Cheltenham Festival, do you think, DJ?
Now, he's running over 2 mile 6 here. So I'd say they'll go down the RSA route with Sam Crow going down the JLT route. And the aforementioned Sam Crow schooled at Punchestown last week, and oh yes, baby, they were absolutely thrilled. Keith Donoghue schooled him, and he said he was brilliant.
Great stuff. Niall, who's your Sunday best?
So I have 2. The first one is in that race you mentioned, the Criterium International at Longchamp. It's the 1 o'clock. Wichita's favourite, but I'd be very disappointed if he can't win this. He was obviously impressive 2 starts at Newmarket, and he ran quite well in the Dewhurst. He was third, probably just not good enough in the day, but the soft ground here will definitely be in his favour. Armory's a 5-2 shot, Wichita's 6-5 with ourselves at the moment, but yeah, I think he'll win. And then in the 1:15 Aintree, a horse called Larn caught my eye for Tim Vaughan. He was last seen pulling up on Chase debut, who clearly didn't take defences. He's not really bred for it. He just looked terrified jumping. But he's back over hurdles here. And it was before he went chasing, he ran very well in a Chepstow race behind Django when he was third, but he probably could have won if he was made more use of. He looks in a good mark with a good apprentice book. So if he's a decent price, I'll be backing him. That's Larn in the 1:15 Aintree.
Thank you very much, chaps. Now, if you were watching last week's Postcast, at this stage of the show, we discussed what everyone was doing at the weekend, and Graham Rodway was telling us how he's got friends were coming over, and he didn't mind the lady, but the fella he wasn't too keen on. But I asked him how it went, and he said for the first 40 minutes they didn't say a word, him and the fella. So if you're asking, that didn't go very well. So hopefully, Keels, how did you get on at Ascot? Did you have fun?
Yeah, I had a good time. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those annoying things. I mean, obviously, I won a few quid, but I was sick as a parrot after the first race because I had a good lump on Don Juan Triumphant for the Air Gold Cup when he didn't run, and I had a good lump on him for an Ascot race 2 weeks earlier when he got beat by Kate Byron, and I was literally, I mean, I had a last minute tenner at 55, but I mean, it just sort of, I was, it's funny when you back a winner at that sort of price and you're upset, but I mean, it just felt a bit like that to me. I felt like I'd missed one. I should have tipped it because I just knew it was its time of year. But no, I backed King of Change. I had a couple of places. Otherwise, huge amount of alcohol. Yeah, it was good.
Good. I'm sure there'll be plenty of people really, really feeling sorry for you having a tenner on a 55-1 winner. What are you doing this weekend?
I'm probably having 55 quid on a lot of 10-1 losers to make up for it. No plans this weekend. Probably go down the booze and watch the racing tomorrow, assuming it's all on, but nothing else on.
Okay. DJ, how are you? I haven't seen you for ages. Is everything well in your life, my friend?
Everything is great, yeah. Aoife's pregnant, so
wow, fantastic news.
Yeah. So God help us all, but there'll be a little DJ running around next year.
When's the baby due?
April. So
lovely.
the day after the Irish Grand National, yeah. So it just means that there's less trips to the boozer because Aoife loves her nights out like I do, and she's not a big fan of like sitting and drinking like water or sparkling water or something. So it's like,
well, you can go down the pub and she can give you a lift home, can't she?
Yeah, she doesn't like that either, unfortunately, yeah.
Did you get an HWPA nomination, by the way, DJ? Are you on the shortlist for an award? Keels is.
Sorry, you're rubbing it in. Yeah, no, I didn't. Well done, Paul. Well done.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah. I'm still a bit uneasy about tipsters going up for awards because, 80%, even if you're good, 80% of what you say turns out to be absolute rubbish, doesn't it? So it's cherry picking to a bit, but it'll be a good day anyway. I'll have to wear a tie, though, this year, won't I?
Have you got one that fits still?
I've got ties that fits. The shirts are the issue.
And Niall, what's your weekend plans?
Yeah, I've been screwed this weekend. I'm actually in all weekend and every day till next Saturday. So the rest of the lads are on holiday, so I'm just covering basically. But yeah, it's going to be quiet for me.
Goodness, that's no good, is it? Okay, chaps, thank you very much indeed. Good luck with all your tips. Good luck with everyone's bets. Hope it's a great weekend. It certainly on paper looks absolutely brilliant. Maddie and co are back on Monday to review the action. We've got golf on Wednesday, football Thursday, and we're back next Friday for another Racing Post Weekend Postcast.
I'm Jose Mourinho. I know a thing or two about being special. English Manager of the Year 3 times, special. Winning the daily jackpot on Paddy Power games, not special.
Understood, Jose. Yes, someone wins an average £40,000 jackpot every single day. So if you win, don't think you're special. Daily Jackpots by Paddy Power Games. Jackpots must be awarded by 11 p.m. and vary from day to day. Jackpot is shared with other operators. Available on selected games. T's and C's at paddypower.com. 18+, begambleaware.org.